Hey, Sunshines. I am going to do one on each type of summer homework. So this one is week 1. I'm actually going to look at number 10. I'm trying to find the hardest ones for each problem, but also ones that give you the most information that you would need to know. All of these are slightly different in that they are requiring you to recognize different order of operations. So the first thing we're going to do is remember our order of operations. We have our order of operations is PEDMAS, where we do parentheses, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. That's the order that you have to do this in. If you don't do it in that order, it will be wrong because math requires a level or a hierarchy, and parentheses is first. So one of the reasons I'm going to look at number 10 is it has parentheses. It doesn't have exponents, but it does have fractions. And I've found that a lot of students struggle with fractions. You've been learning them for about 5 years. So the expectation is that you know your order of operations and you know how to work with fractions. That's what we're going to work with today. Let's look at number 10. Number 10. It is asking me to first, I'm going to write everything out. I'm going to use different color pens and I write really large. So we're going to have to use some of the space over here also. I'm going to start down here. I am substituting all of these numbers in to number 10 so that I have 2 1/5. I'm actually going to convert these all to improper fractions before I even begin. If you need to remember how to do that, I'm going to multiply 2 times 5, which is 10 plus 1. This becomes 11/5. It's just going to make it easier for me to do all of the math that I need to do. Q is already an improper fraction. Fantastic. And then R, 2 times 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17. 17/6. I'm going to write it that way. So now that I have improper fractions, it makes it a little easier for me to see what needs to happen. So I've got P, which is 11/5 times Q plus 5. I'm only writing it exactly the way that it is. I'm not changing anything yet. Plus R squared, which I have as 17/6, and that's being squared, the whole thing. So I'm going to put parentheses around it. And then that is times P. Again, I'm putting parentheses around this. Now, I have to do some addition inside my parentheses. Remember, our order of operations is to do parentheses first. So we're going to do that. In order for me to add those together, they both have to have a common denominator, which means that I'm going to have to make both of them have a 3 as my denominator. Remember, we can always make everything is a fraction because it's over 1. So now I need to have this as a fraction of 3. So I'm going to multiply this entire thing by 3/3. That's how it works. So I'm going to have 11/5. 5/3, notice I haven't changed anything, plus this number 5/1 is being multiplied by the fraction 3/3. I'm going to do it up here because I don't have enough room. But if I have 5/1, I can multiply it by the fraction 3/3. So that then I get 15/3. 15/3 is the same as 5, but now it's in fraction form so that I can add it. We still have not been able to add our parentheses yet. So we're going to do that. We're going to put that up here. I'm rewriting everything always because that's where we make our mistake. So 5 plus 15, remember when we're adding fractions, we add the top, we keep our denominator. 5 plus 15 is 20. So the only thing that I've done is that I have added my parentheses. Then order of operations says I have to do exponents next. This is not a plus, this is a multiply. So because I'm going to add my, or I'm going to do my exponent next, when I square a fraction, I have to square both the top and the bottom number. I'm pulling up my calculator right now. So that 17 squared is 289. I'm going to rewrite everything else except this where I'm actually doing that squaring. We've done our parentheses. Now we're doing our exponents. So I am rewriting the 11/5 times 20/3 plus, now I'm doing that square. 17 squared is 289. 6 squared is 36. That is being multiplied by 11/5. We're going to leave our answer in fraction form. So there is no division here. We're going back to PEDMAS. We've done our parentheses. We've done our exponents. No division. Now we're doing our multiplication. So when you multiply fractions, you multiply across the top, you multiply across the bottom. 11 times 20 is 220. Over 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 289 times 11 is 3,179. And 36 times 5 is 180. So we've done our multiplication. Now we have to do our addition. So in order for us to add, we have to find a common denominator. I find it easiest just to find out how many times 15 would go into 180, which is 12, and multiply it by 12 over 12. I just find it easiest instead of trying to find a reduced fraction or something like that. We'll do that at the end. So in order for us to add these, our denominators have to be the same. In order for them to be the same, we are going to have to multiply this fraction by 12 over 12, just like we did over here. 12 divided by 12, you agree, would be 1. So we're not changing this at all. We're just making it something we can work with. 220 times 12 is 2640. And that's over 180 plus 3179. That also is over 180. Now we can add those numbers together. So I'm going to add 2640 plus 3179. And I end up with 5,819 over 180. I'm going to leave it as that fraction, and here's why. I can see that both of these would be even numbers. So, or this one's an even number, this one is not. So that means it's not divisible by 2. I just checked to see if it was divisible by 3. I know this is divisible by 3 because 8 plus 1 is 9. Anytime you can add it up and 9 is divisible by 3, that means this entire thing is divisible by 3. The top one is not. The bottom also divisible by 5 or 10. The top one is not. So I'm going to leave it as that improper fraction because the first 4 numbers that come to my brain, an even number, which would be 2 or any multiple of 2, 3, 5, and 10 are not, cannot go into both of those numbers. So we're going to leave that number there. Please make sure that when you're doing this, you remember to do PEDMAS. We have a lot of students that struggle with that.